Welcome to the Gray Area. I'm Gia.
I'm Elena.
And we're glad to have you here. I think one of the topics that we're going to talk about, since Elena has a daughter, and we're going to be approaching that at some point in her life, what is it important for your daughter to know about her looks, her size, who she is? What, as a parent, do you want her to know? Like, what's your concern? Because you know this world says so many things, and right now Marley's so independent. But you remember how when you get you remember how when you got to a certain age and you begin to question things. Like, before she even gets there, what do you want to instill that wasn't instilled in you? Does that make sense?
Yeah. My mom always instilled, she used to sing "You're So Beautiful" to us all the time.
But like, what do you think? Like, what would you define to her as beautiful?
Just being her and being comfortable with who she is and not letting other people define her.
And the only reason I ask, I'm going to say this, is because my mom did the best that she could. She really, truly, honestly did.
I feel that too.
And I didn't know what it meant to be beautiful. I thought beauty to me was long
external
hair. Yes. It was the body type, it was the clothes you had, the people that you're around, the popularity that you are. And now I don't think that so much. And this is the reason why I decided to put locks in my hair. Is because I thought that they were beautiful because they're different. And it is a certain type of woman that puts locks in her hair.
Yes,
it is. It's a person that is confident on the inside. And I think that is the most beautiful thing ever. But yeah, I worry about that with my kids. It's like, what am I portraying?
What standard of beauty is?
What standard of beauty is? Because, like, for instance,
I feel like it's inner because I know I struggled, even though my mom always say, you know, she sung "You're So Beautiful." We always like, Mama, please don't sing that today. Okay, we're beautiful, fine. But that still didn't make me believe it. And she already noticed I talked to her about this already, but my mom she has a complex with her weight. And when my mom was married, she was like a size 02, so she was really small. So of course, after she had 3 children and years passed, her weight became an issue, and it's still kind of an issue. Like I said, I talked to her about it, so I'm sure she don't mind me talking about it. But I've told her before, and I was like, Mama, I feel like you placed your insecurities about your weight on me and my sister, and I really had to define who I am in spite of thinking, you know, having a little extra weight here and there was not attractive, because that was my mom's issue, and not knowingly she pushed that on me and my sister. Because like I said, she always called us beautiful. She always did the best that she can do, and unconsciously she put that on us. So we had an issue with our weight and stuff like that, and trying to, you know, feel attractive. And I don't know if it was different from my mom, because my mom was already married. She got married at 19, and my dad left in spite of. But when you have that complex about weight and beauty, when you don't have nobody, is different than you're in a society where having more weight is not a good thing. But I'm glad that that's changing these days too. So, because I was telling Gia, I never felt more confident about myself until now. I'm the biggest I ever been. Can I lose weight? Yes, but is that a factor in how I love myself? No. Because I know I'm a beautiful person inside and out. I know I've worked that out, and I know that if I'm just genuinely who I am, and I feel like I'm a genuine and beautiful person. Some people may not think that, because
it doesn't matter what people
it don't matter what people think, right?
I know that you're a beautiful person,
right? But I just want Marley to grow up and know that it's okay to be herself, whether what size you are, whether you grow up to be slim or thick, or no matter what size you are, it's okay and you're beautiful. In spite of your outside, you have to learn how to be beautiful on the inside.
Absolutely. And I think that it's very meaningful in our relationship too, because we have opposite genders. Because while you're teaching your daughter her definition of beautiful and what she sees as beautiful, I have 3 boys that I'm trying to show that beauty is not on the outside, because we know that most males that we're familiar with are visual. And so I'm trying to work with my children to help them see the beauty that comes from inside a person. Of course, physical appearance definitely has a factor in things. So I'm not even going to lie and say that that's not.
But even with that, people are attracted to different things.
Yes. And so for me, before I had my children, I was a size 4. And when I had my firstborn, I went to size 6. I was okay with that. And then when I had my other children, I got bigger because of my addictions, and I couldn't even say it was my pregnancies because it was not. And so I began to define myself by what society said. My mom was always watching her weight and then not watching it. And so that's where I got being upset and eating. And I didn't realize that I picked that up. So when I got to almost 180 pounds, I was defined by my weight, and I felt
I was back at 180.
I felt like overweight. And then I began to realize that the problem with my weight was that I was unhealthy. I am a short woman, and I'm okay with that now. And so the weight that was on my bones was too heavy for my legs. So my hips began to hurt. And I was like, what is this? I'm getting arthritis, and what's happening? Then I realized that I'm overweight. And I don't have to go all the way back to size 6.
Right.
But I need to get some of that weight off so that my body can function in its normalcy. So that's when I began to change my mind about beauty on the outside, because also I was working a spiritual program. And for me, that's my God helping me in my recovery. And I was able to see that there's these faults that we have and these daily false stories that we tell ourselves that hold us down, that hold us to these constrictions of addictions and eating and filling that hole of not being enough, or not being beautiful enough, or not being enough because he didn't choose me. The reason he didn't choose me because he doesn't understand who he is, and I didn't fit the paradigm that he needs in his life. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with me. But I associated that with me being ugly. So all of that made me a huge mess. So now, and that included the hair too, because now I have to catch my sons, because when they see a woman in their natural hair as a black woman, they're like, your hair looks messy. And so I say, oh, what's messy about her hair? And they have to rethink, was it messy or is it different? And then they come up to that conclusion themselves, oh, it's just different. Because I never used to wear my hair like that, so they have no idea. But that's what I'm talking about, beauty, because when you look at the commercials on TV, you don't see people in a natural environment, especially African Americans. They don't have that natural element of their coarse, curly, beautiful, afro-like hair.
And they're trying now, but they're getting...
It's already indented in society.
But I'm just saying, with the commercials now,
yes,
they're trying to incorporate more black people in their beauty, but is more of a certain type of black beauty, like with the looser curls and the girls with the pretty, but
everything is beautiful.
Everything
and that's
is beautiful.
That's what we're teaching our children, and that's kind of why I revert to just having Netflix and things that are not commercialized, and then also YouTube that doesn't have commercials, because right now I want to be the one.
YouTube don't have commercials because you have YouTube Plus or whatever it is.
But I want
Mine have a lot of commercials.
I want to instill what I need my children to know about beauty first, so that when they see these things, they know authentically already how they feel, instead of having somebody project how they feel. So I was just thinking about that for Marley, because she's so young and she's so strong and
Assertive.
determined and assertive, and we don't want her to lose that.
Right.
And that's why that's why I don't really like, we work with her.
Right.
Because there's some things like that, that's about the age that they say that a child either learns to be submissive or passive.
Right. And I definitely want her to keep her
self-confidence.
Self-confidence, because she does a lot and she has a lot to say. Don't know what she's saying. She got a lot to say.
Figure that out shortly.
I mean, I'm free about my body and stuff at home.
Yes, and
probably a little too free around Marley. But I want her to be like that. I don't want her to be ashamed of her body, whether she's remained skinny, because when I was her age, I was little. I was a stick figure until 12, and then button boobs came like immediately. And it just went from there. But I was ashamed at school. Like one girl told me, you're not allowed to wear tight shirts because your boob's too big. So I used to wear like real baggy clothes. I used to wear jackets in the summertime. Yes, I was that weird kid. But I was uncomfortable with my body because the other girls didn't have my type of curves, and I wasn't a big girl. Like in high school, I think I graduated, I was 135. And I was just curvy. Like I had the body that people are buying now, and I was ashamed of it. Like I just thought I was the big girl, and I thought my butt and my hips too big, my boobs too big, I don't look like everybody else. I wanted to be skinny. I'm like, why couldn't I just not have a butt and no boobs and just be skinny? But it wasn't meant for me.
Right. And that's the thing that we try as a generation now. I know that they pinpoint us millennials for all different types of things, but I feel that we as a generation are now more focused on the person inside, the emotional aspect of what drives you to do things. And there's not many generations that have focused on that. Of course, we have Sigmund Freud and all of that, but that was a total different type of philosophy. This is the real and now. And so I feel like just like you felt as a teenager, we have other kids just not sure of where they are.
Right.
Like if you read some of the stuff that these middle schoolers think
they're going through,
or think that it's like, whoa, what are we doing? How do we stop this? How do we become so unfocused, get ourselves off the focus of ourselves and onto our children? Because we have to start now.
Right.
Because we have little Marley, we have my Elijah, my Samuel, and even my Christopher. We got to get them in the right direction. And it's not about the external things, because as I know, and the Bible that I read is beauty's vain. Beauty is fleeting. Like, that's not all life is about.
Right.
We'd like to know your opinions and how you feel about that, and what you think it's important to teach your children or our generation coming up. So please leave us your ideas in the comments, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Yes.
Alrighty.
All right.
See you next time.
Bye.